What is up, guys? My name is Alex, and I know I'm pretty late on this topic, but obviously today we're going to be talking about COPPA and how it could possibly destroy YouTube. But first, I have to make sure this video isn't kid-friendly, so because starting January 1st of 2020, you can't make kid-friendly content anymore. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So for those of you who don't know, the FTC has this law called the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, which basically protects kids under the age of 13 from having their data collected and or tracked from other websites. And COPPA supposedly gets revised or re-legislated, whatever the fuck you want to call it, every 10 years. Well, it was originally supposed to be revised in 2023, but it ended up getting revised earlier this year. And you want to know why it got revised earlier this year? Because there are some parents out there that just simply don't want to be fucking parents. Yeah, apparently some parents just gave their kid their iPad or iPhone and just left them alone to go explore the internet while the parents just went off into another room to go do God knows what. Anyway, earlier this year, the FTC fined Google and YouTube $170 million for violating COPPA, and now they're going to implement COPPA onto YouTube starting January 1st of 2020, making it that you can't upload kid-friendly content anymore. But Alex, why is this such a bad thing? Oh, I'm gonna tell you why. So now when you upload a video to YouTube, it'll ask you whether the video is made for kids or not, and you have to tell them either yes, it is made for kids, or no, it's not made for kids. And if you say yes, it is made for kids, then that video is going to get bent over and fucked. And I mean fucked with a multitude of things. And I'm gonna list them. So first of all, you can't comment on the video. It won't have any notifications. You can't search for the video. It won't get recommended at all. And worst of all, it'll make 90% less revenue than your average video. So yeah, fucked. And if you say no, the video is not made for kids or not kid-friendly, well, it does offer you some protection from getting your asshole viciously violated from COPPA, but in the long run, it doesn't mean jack shit because the YouTube or the FTC is going to send someone to manually review that video. And if they think that the video they reviewed is made for kids, then guess what? They're going to fine you a small loan of $42,000. And they'll do this for every video that you say isn't made for kids, but YouTube or the FTC thinks that it is made for kids. And also, I found out a couple days ago that we were supposed to get a third option that says it's made for both kids and adults, but YouTube declined this option for whatever reason, meaning YouTube clearly doesn't give a shit about helping its creators. It really only cares about the money involved. At this point, YouTube is just digging themselves their own grave because a couple years ago, you couldn't make kid-friendly content for adults, otherwise you'd be getting your ass cheeks clapped by demonetization, so a lot of YouTubers decided to be family-friendly, and now that YouTube has pulled a fat Uno reverse card, all the YouTubers that decided to go family-friendly are basically like, what the fuck? But Alex, there must be a way to determine whether your video is kid-friendly or not. Didn't they release some guidelines to help you with that? Well, yes, they did, but that's where the problem starts, because the guidelines are so vague and unspecific. If you want to read them, I'll put them in the description, but I'm going to read one of them. Whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures. Well, that could mean a lot of things, like video games, they have animated characters, or animations, they have animated characters and cartoon figures. Are those types of videos going to get fucked by these new changes? Who knows? Or what about all the adult cartoon clips that get uploaded to YouTube? As we all know, there are a bunch of cartoons that aren't kid-friendly, but they're not made for kids, so are they going to get fucked? Also, what about all the gaming channels that aren't made for kids? For example, my channel, my videos aren't made for kids, hence why I swear so much. Will I possibly get fucked by COPPA and the FTC? Or what about all the animation channels that aren't made for kids, one of them being Bruce Do Films, whose videos I love watching. His videos have animated characters and cartoon figures, but guess what? They're not made for kids, so is he gonna get fucked by COPPA? See, this is what I mean when I say the guidelines are so vague that anything that isn't kid-friendly could fall under these guidelines and just get destroyed. Oh man, I can't wait to see shows like Devilman Crybaby get labeled as made for kids because it has animated characters and cartoon figures. That's just gonna be hilarious to see. Okay, so obviously there are going to be a lot of problems coming January 1st, 2020, but how is the FTC going to enforce this new rule? Well, I'm going to play a clip of how the FTC plans to enforce COPPA.
The analogy that I think of is the expression about shooting fish in a barrel. YouTube is the barrel and the content creators are the fish. There will be consequences for content creators. We have a variety of tools at our disposal to cull through those 23 million channels in an expeditious way. So when we talk about aggressiveness, we are typically talking about civil penalties. Not only can we sue Google and YouTube for compliance with COPPA, but also individual channel owners and content creators.
Now, not only did this scumbag, or as I like to call him, the cum shot that his mom failed to swallow, talk about ruining people's lives as shooting fish in a barrel, he also mentioned that the FTC is literally going to sue all 23 million YouTubers. Now, I got one question for this guy. Do you have any idea how much money and time that is going to take? Sure, they might sue 2 to 3 YouTubers, 4 to 5 at most, but definitely not all 23 million, because that's just going to cost a shitload of money, and they're probably going to lose a lot more than they gain. Also, how are they going to gain the support for all of this? If the FTC keeps suing YouTubers because they make kid-friendly content, they're just going to become the laughingstock of the government. Watch, it's going to be like, I put a guy in jail because he robbed a bank, stole $10 million, and went on a high-speed police chase that took the lives of 2 officers. What'd you do, FTC? I sued a guy $42,000 because he was making Minecraft videos that appealed to kids. Like, they're just going to get laughed at and not gain any support at all. Furthermore, how are they going to sue YouTubers that don't live in the US? Like YouTubers that live in Canada, Russia, India, the UK, Ireland, etc. How are they going to sue them? There's no such thing as online court trials. But the good thing about telling you about this, when you look at it from this perspective, you kind of tend to realize that the FTC is going to have a lot more problems than solutions starting January 1st of 2020. I feel like the FTC secretly hates YouTube, and that's why they're implementing COPPA, so that way they can have an excuse to kill YouTube. Now, I'm going to play another clip of one of the things that the cum shot that his mom failed to swallow had to say.
Content creators are always at risk of being fined because they're and channel owners, because there we have a situation where we have a website or an online service that is directed to children. So there, in the general audience platform, we still have this knowledge requirement that we have to prove up. So there is, I think, in theory as well as practically speaking, generally a higher risk for channel owners and content creators who, after all, are creating this content and know intimately whether or not it's directed to children or not.
Okay, obviously, us content creators know whether our videos are for kids or not. However, it's not our fucking problem that your kid watches them. I shouldn't be forced to change my content all because your kid happens to watch it. If you think that my content is a bad influence on your child, then you should get off your lazy ass and do something about it. And to think that this whole thing started because some parents basically failed to monitor their kids. And YouTube already has YouTube Kids, but the FTC basically acts like that doesn't even exist. YouTube Kids was a website that was created for kids and to protect them. Go figure. Then, once they got old enough, they'd move onto YouTube. Also, kids are still going to go on YouTube regardless of what their parents say, and yet YouTubers are the ones that are just getting fucked in the ass by these new changes. It's not our fault there's some horrible parents out there that just simply don't care about their kids. I still don't understand why the FTC thinks that YouTubers are the problem for kids being on YouTube. Well, anyway, with that out of the way, surprisingly, there is something that you can do to help stop this whole thing. There's a petition that you can sign on change.org to help save family-friendly content on YouTube. Also, you can actually comment on the FTC's website and give them your thoughts on the whole thing. One thing I'll say though, don't be a dick. Don't be like, oh fuck you FTC, you're all a bunch of cunts who hate family-friendly content on YouTube. Because then they're just gonna think it's like some immature like kid writing this and then completely disregard it. But yeah, those are some things that you can do to help with this. But anyways guys, that is all the time I have for this video. I could talk about this for a while, but I think I've said enough. This whole situation is just so goddamn stupid, and it's not really going to solve much. If anything, it's only going to create more problems for YouTube as a whole and us content creators. Also, I am not paying that $42,000 fine, all because I lied about appealing to kids. Fuck that, the FTC can go suck my dick.